Hey, this is Mike with Rogue Valley Strength and Conditioning, and today I want to talk about 3 self-massage techniques you can do with the foam roller. I want to focus in on 3 common areas that I see my clients have problems with, and so I think they're just kind of common areas that everyone can kind of work on. So the first one is the upper back. So generally a good rule of thumb is to start the rolling of the upper back from about where the lowest part of your ribs are. The thoracic spine generally starts about there, and then rolling to below the neck. You don't want to roll directly on the neck because that can be hard on the neck. So just stay off the neck, and I have them roll up and down for about 30 seconds. If they find a really tight area, they can focus in on it, so they can do shorter rolls. I also have them hug themselves, so that helps spread the shoulder blades apart, and then we can get in there and work on the muscles. After 30 seconds of rolling up and down, then you can kind of rock side to side, and if you find any muscle adhesions, knots near the shoulder blades, you can just kind of focus in on there. It's a really nice way to get in there and help break up some of those muscle knots. And then the last thing before we leave the upper back, you can do a mobility drill. So again, kind of starting near the lowest part of the ribs, taking the hands under the head, keeping the elbows kind of close, and then I have my clients flex and then extend. We're just working on mobility in the upper back. I have them do it 2 to 3 times each segment. Then I have them move it up a little bit to the next segment and flex and extend. And this is a really nice one to get some mobility in the upper back, because we tend to get locked up in it, especially if we have poor posture. So it's also working on getting better posture. So from there, we move on to the calves. The calves can get pretty tight and the tissue can be pretty dense, especially people who spend a lot of time on their feet, or if you walk or run a lot. So with the calves, if you're a beginner and you're not used to the foam roller, I recommend just getting used to it by rolling both legs at the same time. If you're a little more advanced, then you can focus in on one leg at a time, and not just rolling the middle of the calf, but also rolling the inside and the outside. And I recommend rolling from the heel to just below the knee. If you have some kind of Achilles issue and it's irritated, I wouldn't roll directly on the heel, but you'll just you have to decide for yourself how far you want to roll it down. You can also, if you find a restriction, you can roll side to side in that area, and you can also move your foot up and down and move it in circles, and just to help break up that restriction. Okay, and then the last one is the quads. So the quads are, I commonly see people with tight quads. So the foam roller, for beginners, you can start by just rolling both legs at the same time. Otherwise, focus in on one leg. Make sure you roll the outer part. Commonly the outer part's going to be the most sore and the most tight. I don't have people roll directly on the side. That's known as the IT band that runs along the side of the thigh. Usually if you work on that lateral quad, which is, so I'm a little more at an angle, I'm not directly on my side. Sometimes there's talk that it gets adhesions between the IT band and the quad, and so actually just working on that lateral quad might free up the IT band, and you might start feeling better just by focusing in on that. So there's some mixed information on whether you should directly roll on the IT band on the side of your thigh. I've just been kind of staying away from it. You can kind of decide for yourself. There's different information out there, like I said. You want also make sure you roll down the middle, and then I would go during the 30 seconds that you roll, you can kind of just switch between the outside and the middle, and also going inside. Or you could spend 30 seconds on each of those areas. And you want to roll from just below the hip bone and to just above the knee. You don't want to roll directly over the knee. that would be just hard on the joint and hard on the kneecap. So don't roll directly over the joint. And one last thing, you can flex and extend the leg, and that will help free up any restrictions if you find a really tight area. So those are the 3 drills. If you have some kind of health problem or injury, I would check with a medical professional before you start incorporating the foam roller into your workouts. But there is a bunch of recent research, actually some of it just came out this month, and the foam roller is definitely a useful tool for increasing range of motion and helping free up any muscle adhesions, muscle knots. It's going to help with those, but also a really interesting study came out that showed that actually helps circulation. So just doing rolling on all the major muscle groups each day would be beneficial for circulation. So yeah, you can't really go wrong with a foam roller. Just main thing, stay off those joints, and if you have an injury, you don't want to irritate it, so be careful with that. But anyways, thanks for joining me.